Hi, welcome to today's episode of your favorite daily podcast. A couple of things, a podcast about things. Today, I'm going to be answering a listener question about handling jealousy with looking at your friends and other people's achievements. Today's question is from Jealous Body, and he or she asks, how do you handle feeling some type of way about someone else's success? I want to be genuinely happy for my friends and just people in general, but I start feeling jealous and sometimes resentment creeps in when I see what they've accomplished. Now, this is a very good question because many of us, I feel like everybody at some point in your life you must have felt envy or jealousy or whatever you want to call it. And I think that anybody who says they have never felt envy or jealousy is lying, because human beings have a whole spectrum of emotions. And okay, maybe they're lying or they don't have the ability to have emotions, one of those two things, because everyone has a range of emotions. And I don't think that emotions are good or bad. It's what we do with those emotions and how we process those emotions that then the outcome of that, or the thing that we do as a result of those emotions, can be what is good or bad. Hi, thanks for listening so far. Just to pop in to say, please send me questions. I'm running out of things to talk about, so send me questions or suggestions. The link to do that is in the description box of the episode. Also, subscribe. Thanks. Okay, let's get back into the episode. It's been a while since my undergraduate degree in psychology, you guys. That's a side topic, but I can't believe it's been this many years since I finished from university. But anyways, it's been a while since then, but I remember learning about the theory of how emotions are developed. And there's a theory that your physical reaction impacts your emotions, or your physiological reactions influence your emotions, and your emotions influence your physiological reactions. But anyway, the point is that emotions are emotions. They don't really have any meaning. We associate meaning with the emotions, and the meanings that we associate with those emotions is what really then matters. So, and I've written about this before, like a long time ago, about feeling jealousy. So envy is a human emotion. Jealousy is not always bad. And there was an episode of Harvard Business Review's podcast where they talk about it. I'll link to it in the show notes. But the point is that I don't think you should feel bad about yourself because you sometimes have envious thoughts or you feel jealous about something. And I feel that people don't want to feel jealous because they feel like it's a bad emotion, and most people don't want to be bad people or feel bad about themselves. So we tend to try to repress the emotion that we feel. And so I also want to say, kudos to you for being able to name this emotion and not hide it, and pretend that it doesn't exist. And so I can't tell you what you should do about feeling jealous, but I can tell you what I do when I start to feel jealousy about something. But before I go into that, I also want to say that our emotions also can be indicators of something, and until we sit down to assess those emotions, we can't really get to the roots and we can't solve the problem. So perhaps you're angry. You have to ask yourself, why am I angry? What about the situation is making me angry? Maybe somebody yelled at you or shouted at you. Are you angry because of are you angry that is this person that shouted at me? Maybe if it was another person that shouted at you, you will not be angry. Or are you angry because you're just being shouted at, full stop? Depending on the answer to that question, that then determines how you respond and how you then are able to regulate your own emotions, because emotional regulation is very, very important. But anyway, so on the topic of jealousy so what I do is when I'm jealous about something that somebody has achieved or they have had or whatever, because again, like every other person, I sometimes get jealous. And jealousy doesn't mean that you hate the person and you want their downfall. That's why you need to, almost every time, except you're actually just a terrible person. But you have to what I do is I ask myself the question, this thing. So maybe I see that somebody has won an award or something, and I'm feeling jealous or sad about it. I can then be like, okay, do I really want this award? Or what does this award represent? Because I'm not actually jealous or upset about that person or the thing that they have. It's about what it is telling me that I don't have, that I want. That is what I'm jealous about. So, and then sometimes when I ask myself that question, I actually realize I actually don't want this thing. This thing is just it's just because I'm seeing it on my timeline or wherever that I'm feeling like I want it and I'm feeling bad that I don't have it. But really, really, really and truly, I don't actually want this thing. But in the situation where I want the thing, and I ask myself that, is it this exact thing that I want? So again, giving the award example, okay, somebody wants this award. Is it the award? Do I want an award, or do I want this award, or do I want the feeling that having or receiving this award will give me? And what can I do to get that feeling? Because me being jealous about it does not help anybody. It does not help the person that I'm jealous at. It does not help me myself to get the thing I want. So I have to ask myself, what about this do I really want? So in the example of this award, it can be that, oh, I want the recognition of my peers or whatever, that I am great at my job or my chosen career path. And then I ask myself, how can I get this in a way that doesn't tear down the other person or anybody else, and is bonus points helpful for other people, right? So this is, in summary, is what exactly am I jealous about? Do I really want this thing, or does it just look great? Second question, what about it do I want? If it's something that I want, what about it? What is the feeling, the emotion that is driving this? What is the, not emotion, what is the story or the need that is driving this emotion, that is driving this feeling? And the third question is, how can I then get what I want without tearing down anyone, or even tearing down myself, or not living in consistency with my values and what I consider to be important? So now this works when it's somebody that is removed from you, somebody that you don't really know, somebody that just know from online, or it's what you just see or whatever. But what about when it's your friends? I think when it's your friends, it depends on what it is. I remember there was one time where I'm actually also generally not an envious person, where it's I'm really, really jealous about somebody to do something. That's why I like to sit with myself and process my emotions and say, why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling or whatever. But there was this time where I noticed that I was actually active, I was becoming quite jealous of one of my friends, and so I prayed about it. So prayer, if you are a believing person, pray as well, definitely. And I prayed about it, and I felt like I should talk to her about it, which is not something I would advise. It's not I'm not saying go and talk to people that are jealous about or whatever. So I had a conversation with her about it, and I said that I don't know how to have this conversation with you, but I've been praying about this feeling that I usually don't have, that I'm having, and I feel like God wants me to talk to her about it. And so I spoke to her about it. We had a conversation about it. We prayed together. And after that, I never felt jealous of her again or about that particular thing. So this is not a route that I would advise everybody to take. I will just say, gauge the situation that you're in. If it requires putting a distance between you and the person because you can't handle your emotion, you're still trying to regulate yourself, then put distance between you and the person, especially if it's someone that is your friend or close to you. I mean, someone that is just on internet, you can meet them or block them until you feel like you've moved past it, especially when it's something that you actually really want and desire that you're not having. And then another thing is that I want to say is that sometimes you think you're jealous, but you're actually just sad, and it's okay. Because imagine that you want something, maybe you and all your friends are looking for new jobs and everybody's getting a new job, but you haven't gotten your new job. You can be very happy for your friends that they've gotten a new job, but you can be sad that you haven't gotten a new job, and that doesn't mean that you're jealous. So you need to, again, question the emotion that you're feeling, because sometimes we are too quick to name our emotions, and we have very limited vocabulary sometimes. That's why it's important to use their tools like emotion wheels that have 100, I'm exaggerating, lots of words to define a range of emotions, so you can properly name your emotion so that you can properly address it. So if it's that you're feeling sad, it doesn't mean that you're jealous. It just means that you're sad that you don't have this thing that all of you are trying to get, but everyone is getting, and you're happy for them. It doesn't mean you're not happy for them, but it just means that you're sad. And then what can you do to cheer yourself up? What do you need to do to help yourself move past that sadness and then celebrate your friends or whatever? So I hope this helps, and good luck with everything. Thank you for listening, and thank you for submitting a question. Bye. Thank you for listening to today's episode of A Couple of Things. If there was anything you found interesting or insightful, or you enjoyed the episode, please do share to someone or multiple people. like, leave a comment, and definitely do subscribe and all the nice things. Bye.